Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DePietro and Bob Zagami.
Folks, we've got a big problem. There's absolutely no way we can match the savings of Seacoast RV during their blowout bonanza. I mean, look at these prices. They're crazy!
Don't miss out on Seacoast RV's blowout bonanza and your chance to get your family into the RV or towable of your dreams.
Wait a minute. Seacoast RV is taking your trade-ins and giving you top dollar?
And Seacoast RV wants your trade-in during their 2023 blowout bonanza. Trade in your RV towards a leftover 2023 model and receive up to an additional $5,000 on your trade value. That's right, up to $5,000 on your trade.
I mean, just look at these prices. How the heck am I supposed to match Seacoast RV's blowout bonanza? We can't do it!
Don't miss Seacoast RV's 2023 blowout bonanza. And don't forget to check the website for the RV of the week. Seacoast RV, creating family fun on Route 1 in Saco.
Seacoast RV's blowout bonanza savings are so crazy, it makes my head want to explode.
Seacoast RV.
Well, good evening, John.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bernie, and welcome everyone to RVing in New England. My name is John DePietro, and I'm going to change my camera because for some reason I have the wrong camera up there. But we'll get it done.
Okay. Is that what you're hoping to do? There you go.
Do
Looks
that
good now, buddy.
and have my background on. But you know what? Look at when you go live,
Right.
you run into issues that somehow make things a little bit different. So anyway, we have
So we have a crazy show in store tonight, right? We have a lot going on. You know, Bob is kind of sitting in the background for now, and he's kind of keeping an eye on us, sending us a lot of great information about the storm that he's in the middle of. And we also have a couple of very special guests here tonight too, right?
We have some very special guests, and we have some taped interviews. We've got virtually everything that you need to know about camping or RVing in New England and Florida. And Bernie, a lot of people say, well, wait a minute. This is RVing in New England. Why are you talking about Florida? Well, you know what? Just as I look on our guest list right here, Frank Palanch has a place in Florida. Walter Swenson has a place in Florida. Dante goes to Florida in the wintertime. The Haws are down in Texas.
Right.
And so many New Englanders have interests in Florida during the wintertime. And our live guests are New England natives that are now Floridians. And you know what? It's going to be an interesting show. We've got live guests. We've got taped interviews. We've got Bob Zagami, who is making a cameo appearance. And you know what?
He's been sending us information all day long just to make sure that we can keep you folks well informed. And we're going to really ask a favor of you to make sure we have, well, can I name the guests? Did we talk about them yet? It's Ben and Avery Hirsch are here on the show live. And we're going to expect that you're going to be asking them some wonderful questions. They just went on a bit of a mission to drop down some goods for people that were affected by Hurricane Helene. And now they're here to talk about it. And they're a wonderful adventure. And yeah, there they are. Welcome aboard, folks.
Hello. How's it going?
And for those that know who Ben and Avery Hirsch are, they are affiliated with Campers Inn. And Ben, what's your title? President?
COO of Campers Inn.
COO, and Avery is a chairman of the board.
She's
Sure.
He doesn't know that yet.
princess in waiting.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we want to thank you for joining us because I know you've had a busy couple of days, but everything that we've talked about with other people that have witnessed what's going on down there, they've said that the neighbors helping neighbors issue has been absolutely amazing. And why don't you tell us what you did? Because you weren't told to do this. This wasn't something that Uncle Jeff said, go do this. you kind of did this on your own. Tell us what you did.
Yeah, do you want to start?
Sure. So basically, we were just in the car, we were talking about it, and my teacher has been talking about, like, he's my environmental teacher, how like storms are supposed to get worse, but it's been oddly quiet. So we started talking about that, and then I'm also trying to get my pilot's license. So we said, well, what if one day there was a hurricane that hit and we just fly materials down? We were thinking maybe just to another part of Florida. We had no idea that Helene would at all destroy like 2 other states in the process. So then it was just an idea at first. And then whenever it happened, we realized there were a lot of people in need. So we just came up with the idea to make a food drive. And then we would go and fly all of our material up to like North Carolina, because there were a lot of missions, like Operation Airdrop, and then there's a couple more that were looking for pilots to go drop stuff off. So I just talked to some of my teachers, tried to get some of my clubs to participate, held a food drive at my school. We got some donations in there, but then also I created a flyer, and then my parents just posted it on Facebook, on like social media, and we were able to get a lot more donations through just the internet and people helping other people. And through all those donations, we just loaded up the plane, and then we flew to North Carolina.
Yeah. We should say that Ben has a plane, and that you use for business. So Ben's a certified, qualified pilot, and Avery, you're just about there as well. But I think it's important to point out, Avery, that you're in high school, and
Yeah.
a lot of high school kids spend their time texting friends, and you kind of took this thing and ran with it. And when you see the pictures, Bernie, I don't know if you have more pictures there of what they did.
Let's bring them up. Yeah. So
Amazing.
okay, that's like a hangar, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah. So that was in Ashe County Airport. So that's where we actually flew up, and there were dozens of people working inside there, taking in all the stuff that the pilots and everybody was flying in. And then the other picture you had, the truck, was roughly half of what we were collecting. That's the other half in the car, in the back of the car, and in the back seat of the car. So it was really cool. But what was really cool is how many people shared on social media and were just dropping stuff off at the house and everything, and they just saw the flyer and how can I help, and people just really neighbors helping neighbors. It was really cool to see. I thought we were only I thought it was gonna be like one plane load full, and it ended up being more than that. I wasn't able to get all the weight into the plane with one flight.
Yeah.
Well, when you
That's amazing. It took a little bit of courage too, because you didn't really know 100% of what you were getting into when you were going up there, right? Because there was some controversy about some of the people flying private, folks bringing in food drops, and you had a different opinion on how that went. So tell us a little bit about your experience and how you had to communicate with the locals to make sure that you weren't affected by such a thing.
Yeah, so I kind of took the lead on that because I've got the Facebook account, right? So following all the different, because there was several different groups. There was Hurricane Helene Airdrop or something like that, and then there was Operation Airdrop, and then there was another one out of Greensboro. I'm forgetting their name. So I started following those Facebook pages and was watching what the pilots were saying, because there was misinformation and good information all at the same time. So it's hard to dissect. So I actually coordinated with the group out of Statesville, North Carolina, and said, look, instead of coming to your place and then you rerouting me, like, where do you want us to go?
Right.
Here's what we have.
Getting there and getting stopped in the middle of the process. Yeah. And
she texted me back, like, the airport identifier. I said, perfect.
Yeah.
So we were in the air like probably an hour and a half later.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely amazing when you figure, Avery, this came together pretty quick, right? I mean, like within a day.
Oh yeah. No, we were talking about it like maybe the Friday, and then we were talking about it Saturday, and then it happened Sunday, and then we just went.
Yeah,
and
I saw Lori shared a post online. And I'm like, how are they going to do this in just a couple of days? And lo and behold, it really happened in a big way.
Yeah.
I think it's important to point out that when Bernie used the term food drop, you didn't fly by and drop food. You actually landed and they took the food out of the airplane. And,
Okay.
but Ben, or Avery, you're a high school student and you've probably never experienced anything like this before in your life. Maybe your dad hasn't either, but what did you learn about people helping people during this? I mean, it's got to be worth a couple semesters worth of school credit.
I kind of my school is very good. We have a lot of clubs that help other people. A lot of the teachers there are also very open. Like, for instance, one of the teachers followed my mom and she dropped by our house and gave us food. So I feel like it's just a lot of my community is very good, especially with people helping people, because there's just all sorts of people that need help all the time and everybody can help out some way. So.
And the pilot community surprised me. So when I was obviously in the military, I flew helicopters in the Army. So that's kind of part of the mission profile. You go into weird places that nobody else goes into to do things that nobody else wants to do, right? But on the civilian side, there was, because on those forums, there was people talking about, I think it was mostly misinformation, but people actually being so desperate they came and they were trying to take things from others. But who knows what the truth was?
Wow.
But anyway, so there was some nervousness about bringing my daughter to that situation. I actually joked with her about it. I'm like, so we'll see what it's like when we get there. But the amount of pilots was awesome. So when we were approaching Ashe County, we're on with air traffic control, and it's getting in the pilot lingo is called test saturated. I'm like, Avery, I need you to be watching outside like really intently right now because I'm having a hard time manage all the radios in a somewhat controlled airspace going into an uncontrolled airport. And we ended up being fourth in line of planes, non-towered airports. So we just communicate with each other, the different pilots.
Oh, wow.
We all figured out how to get in line behind each other so that we could all land. And there was planes coming in nonstop.
Oh, yeah. It was, you land, you wait for them to land, they'd get off the taxiway, and then you'd go. And then it was just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
With no control tower.
No FAA. Yeah.
So just between you guys, this is Bonanza 1 and 4212, et cetera, et cetera. And we should say you took this on as individuals, not as a publicity stunt for a business or anything like that. I mean, this was really I can't think of a cooler way to say something I did with my dad or something I did with my daughter. When you look back on this later on and say, we had no idea what we were doing. We could have been landing in a runway that that wasn't stable or whatever the case. But right.
We were just able to help, so why not?
And there was that risk. So in the first few days after it happened, to your point on the runways and whatnot, it's all stuff that I was trying to do research on, but it was hard to find. And like they even said, make sure you have a secondary source of communication in case you pop a tire on a bad runway or yes, there was real risks for sure as a pilot going up there. The great news is that the local volunteers did a great job of, at least the airport that we went to and dropped off in Ashe County, they did a great job of cleaning it up and making the runway super usable so we could just keep on coming in, and it wasn't an issue. But
they were amazing. Yeah. They had trolleys too, carts where they just take your food and quickly so that you can leave soon after. They were really good.
One interesting aspect about New England, that last picture, Bernie, can you go back to that last picture with the headsets?
Sure.
If you can. Those are David Clark headsets made in Worcester, aren't they?
They are. I like my DC headsets.
David Clark, made right in Worcester. But
you guys look like two peas in a pod. I tell you, it's amazing the resemblance.
Yep.
And your grandmother, last time I saw her, she chatted a little bit about you guys, and I forget what I was bragging on about Ben, saying, he's making some really important decisions for our company. He's doing a great job, blah, blah, blah. She goes, if you want to meet someone smart, you're going to have to talk to Avery. She's the smart one in the family. She's going to be at a whole nother level. So I can't imagine what's going to happen to you over the next 10 years or so and the developments you're going to go through. If you're doing this already, have you turned 17 yet?
No.
No, you haven't even turned 17 yet. And what you're up to in community service and giving back and helping people in need, right? It's really important to serve our community. And what a wonderful way to do that. And I'm sure you're getting a great example from Dad as well.
We do have a question from Dante, one of our regulars. Dante said, how many runs did they make? Ben,
so we planned on making a few. So this is actually kind of funny, but this is general aviation when you're dealing with smaller planes. So we're on the way back, and I noticed one of the gauges is acting a little funny. So I pointed out to Avery, and I'm like, hey, the oil temperature gauge is in the green, but it's jumping around a little bit. That's odd. Let's keep on watching it. If anything happens, we'll just land. No big deal. Which I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, small planes, like that'd be a freak out moment. But
the pressure was normal.
Pressure was normal. Everything else was normal. And I could, if I have any pilot geeks, I could tell you all the reasons why that I realized it was a sensor issue on that particular gauge, but it's required for flight. So if it actually dropped off, I'd have to land. So anyway, so we get back to the home airport, and we literally touch the runway, and it just drops off X through it because it's a digital gauge. So it's an X through it. And I say to Avery, well, it doesn't look like we're making our next run up here tomorrow morning. So we're going to have to figure out how we're going to get the rest of the stuff up here. So I'll let you kind of fill in the rest of it.
So then we searched for more places that were possibly drop-offs where we wouldn't have to just fly material. So we found this one place, and they were talking about how they didn't have a lot of supplies and how they needed it. So my dad filled up a car, and then that one. And then I just drove it to this place, and the people were so nice. They were so nice. And they kept on telling me about how thankful they were because they had all of their family up in North Carolina. And they were talking about how her sister was needing EpiPens, and it was really good to still be able to give those materials there. And I'm glad that there were still places taking it because they really needed it.
And they were pilots as well. So it was actually at the airport. And they had a slightly bigger plane than ours, probably a bit bigger. And they were bringing it up on their next load up because they had extra room on it, which was great.
Was that your friend, Ben, with the A380?
It was not an A380, but it was some sort of turboprop.
Yeah, it was a turboprop.
Dante said
we have a little bit of a peanut gallery here in the background that you guys met earlier, and they were asking if Campers Inn has any plans to expand upon the current store count. What are we at? 37 or 38? I know there's a little flip going on in there.
Yeah, so. Some that I can actually talk about, and then some that I'll just say you have to watch. So
you have to wait.
Yeah, exactly. So in Myrtle Beach, we're opening up probably mid next year. We'll have our super center fully developed, and we'll do some. We're going to be able to service our customers way better. Right now, we have. They're going to kill me because I'm going to get the number wrong, but something like a dozen mobile service trucks that we have running around, and we don't have much in the way of physical facilities. So we'll have just a huge facility there, be able to take care of those customers. So we're expanding there. In the Pittsburgh market, we haven't formally announced this, so I'm not going to say where exactly, but we'll be back in the Pittsburgh market in January. Looking forward to it. Our first opening there will be at the Pittsburgh RV show. So we'll either take some stuff in under our other Pennsylvania store, or we'll be in there under that Pittsburgh store. We'll see. Yeah. And then we have, I'll just put it this way, at least one announcement that I've thought we've been able to announce by now, but we haven't been able to. So Campers Inn, we're still a growth company. We paused most of last year, maybe a year and a half as the market settled out, but we still have some growth plans, and we're excited about it.
Yeah. Is there any? Is it too early to talk about Fran?
Well,
Not now that you've talked about it.
I just said a 4-letter word, but that's all. Nothing too.
Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to have a better customer experience. And so we actually won the industry's innovation award this year for developing an AI agent that helps our customers find RVs sooner. We actually have other iterations that we're really looking forward to developing on the service side and on some other aspects. So we do, we have a vision statement, like a lot of companies. One of our vision pieces is being an innovation leader in the industry. And so we're truly investing in innovation so that we think that the customer experience can be a lot better. We think it can be better from the sales end of it. We think it can be better on the service end of it. And we understand that there's some problems. And a lot of the people that might be listening, if they're customers, they may once in a while see me chime in on a forum when I see an unhappy Campers Inn customer, because we do have them from time to time.
Yeah,
we get it. We get that the experience in the industry needs improvement, and we're putting our money where our mouth is to help make the industry a better place.
Yeah. Hey, Bernie, I think there's a person. I saw somebody enter the green room a little while ago. Somebody that knows quite a bit about Campers Inn. I don't know if you want to get him out of the green room and.
I think I'm going to bring him in here. Whoops! Here we go.
bring him in and drop him right down.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic story, Ben and Avery, and it doesn't surprise me because, as you know, I'm one of the few people in the RV industry that knew your great grandparents, Avery, but Ben's grandparents when I lived in Stowe, Mass, and Acton, Mass. So I have watched this company grow from the beginning, and it's absolutely amazing, and it is customer focused, it is people focused, and this doesn't surprise me at all, but I would love to see it take it to all 36, because it's easy for us guys outside of the business to spend somebody else's money. But you got 36 locations, and I'm sure if you presented it somehow, some way, in fact, you may have had an email already. I did reference somebody to get in touch with you on a more or less a little bit of a national plan. There's a lot of things that this industry can do, and one of the things that we do very well when we do it is taking care of customers and taking care of people in general. You didn't go up there and you didn't ask if they're an RV or if they bought their RV from Campers Inn, if they're Republican or Democrat. It's just the right thing to do at the right time, and I commend you for it. It's a fantastic project. And Avery, the experience that you've gotten and you haven't turned 17 yet.
Yeah.
She's going to go places. She'll take your job, Ben.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank
You'll be
That's fine.
ready to go at that time.
Yeah. So you know what? I know these guys got things to do. I don't think we mentioned. We say Campers Inn, New England-based company at one time, but your journey, your flight, your Mercy flight, if you want to call it that, was from Jacksonville to North Carolina. Not Jacksonville, North Carolina, but Jacksonville, Florida to North Carolina. And I think that's important to let people know the real place that you went. And what else we got here? Dante says he's a Civil Air Patrol person. Not bad for a boy from Meffa.
Hey, watch that. There's only a few of us who call it Meffa, and only if you came from there. So you don't have to let out all the secrets.
Right. So what do you got for weather right now, you guys down in Jacksonville?
It's not bad. It's been raining, light wind all day.
Since I woke up.
We're supposed to get the worst of it tonight
Yeah.
into the morning.
Should be like tropical storm winds, but that's about it. It hasn't been like pouring down, so we should be all right.
Great.
Well, folks, it's been really great having you on the show tonight, and it's wonderful. You've been a great service to our country as a military person. You've been a great service to the RV industry, and now a great service to your community. God bless you both.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. So let's keep Mr. Zagami here and get a first-hand view. Bob, that picture behind you was your house this afternoon. It's probably dark by now, right there.
Yeah, it's getting dark here now, but yeah,
Yep.
that's what they call hurricane shutters. If you we bought that as a resale, so it didn't have hurricane windows. So down here, you either have the hurricane rated windows, or you get these hurricane shutters. They go up on all your windows and all your doors. And if you want to see what your house is like in the middle of the night with no light, this is it. But they are very effective. But I'll tell you, I went around.
Wait! You can't say that till tomorrow.
What?
How effective they are.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because but we're not going to get the thrust of the storm, so we don't expect anything. I drove around the golf cart this afternoon to many of the communities in Ave Maria. I would say less than 10% of the homes had the hurricane shutters. Now others would have the hurricane windows, but this, I was talking to John this morning. I feel it's surreal in that almost like we're in a different country. When I look at what's happening from Naples, Fort Myers, and all the way up the coast there, we're just sitting out here in the middle of the state, and it's business as usual. There were people at the coffee shop downtown this morning. We had some regular deliveries. It's crazy what's happening, and it's going to be, sadly, it's going to be terrible.
The top 2/3 of the state are getting inundated.
Tripled again, and we're really concerned. Everybody in the state is concerned about the landfall if it comes into Tampa Bay. It could be 10 or 15 foot surges. And I don't know if you're familiar with Tampa Bay, that sits between Tampa and then on the left side is Clearwater Beach in St. Petersburg. They have a couple of causeways that go across, and it's like they built them on top of the water. There's no height to them. So you get a heavy rainstorm and the water floods it and they have to shut it down. This thing, it may be shut down for months. It's going to be bad.
Yeah. Well, let's pray that it veers at the last minute. But our resident statistician and meteorologist Walter Swenson has given us a report here that says rain may. What, Walter? There was two of them you gave there. One was it's raining like hell in Fort Myers Beach, taking on water. Oh, Fort Myers Beach is being inundated by storm surge, and Merritt Island, Cocoa Beach, where I've been to both of those places, has been hit by a large tornado.
Yep.
Okay. Then Walter says rain may actually stop for an extended period of time as the winds will keep going up, at this time looking like peak winds around 1 a.m.
One of the things that it doesn't come out a lot in the news reports, Fort Myers Beach was crippled with Ian 2 years ago. And the second anniversary was last week for Ian. And many people just opened up their restaurants and businesses in anticipation of the snowbirds. And they're just moving back into their houses. And then Helene came through, and now tonight they're going to come back through again. And it could potentially wipe out all the remaining buildings that were there before Ian. The stories that are going to come out of Fort Myers Beach will you just have to pray for them. You're right.
Story coming up right after the break about a gentleman who survived in Boone, North Carolina. And, same thing there. Resort town, tourist. October is the big time of year. They're losing all their stuff. So, what do I want to say? Oh, yeah. Why don't you just bring Bill Sell up for a second, because Bill is doing yeoman work in the background.
We're both doing it, so Bernie and I are both.
I'm bringing you up, and you're
doing each other.
Yeah. Now, Bill, your son is in Davenport?
Yes, he's just a couple miles from where Walter usually is when Walter isn't up here with us.
Okay.
But he's in Davenport, built a house there while working for Disney about 3-4 years ago with this kind of a storm in mind. So it's about 9 feet higher than many of the neighboring houses in the development. And he's got about 20-foot drop off at the back of the house into wetlands. So the water for him shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Now, I saw Frank Palange on earlier when we signed on at 7:00. Frank, if you're still here, write in and let us know what they've done, because Frank has a place in Fort Myers.
Right.
a place that he goes down in the winter in Fort Myers, and
He's on the east side of 75.
I think he's right. I think he's right on 70. Right, I think you can hear 75 from his place.
He gets off the turn with the Camping World, but it's pretty far away from the beaches, so I don't think the surge will come over there. But he will certainly have a lot of water and potential damage. Yeah,
Frank, if you're there, tell us what it was like. And
should we go into the break, you think, John?
No, why don't we do this? Go into our break, and if you guys can have Mike queued up, why don't we do this? Let's go into the break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to a guy named Mike, who's a college friend of mine, who is a Jersey guy, but now lives in Boone, North Carolina, and will tell you what's going on there. It's pretty amazing to hear it from people who are actually there. So why don't we do this? Let's hear from Seacoast RV, and then go right
see them because it's a screenshot.
Yeah,
and
there we go.
You
okay, Bob, make you work.
Oh, okay. I'll pay my fair share tonight. Seacoast RV's been a longtime sponsor with RVing in New England. We appreciate Kenny Below and Amanda Below and the crew up there, Kendra Smith and Brittany Creamer. And they are home to Elevation Park model homes and Krupp Park model homes and Winnebago towables and Winnebago motorhomes up to the Class C level, creating family fun on Route 1, propane, largest parts and accessory store in Maine, and just downright nice people to do business with.
There we go. So let's go to my college friend, Mike, in Boone, North Carolina. Hey, everybody, welcome back. And these last 2 weeks, weather-wise, have been turmoil, to say the least, regardless of where you live on the East Coast, whether you be from the great state of Maine down to Florida. And unexpectedly, the states that are getting a lot of attention around this time are Western North Carolina and South Carolina and Tennessee. And joining me today is a college friend from the foreign country of New Jersey who has moved back to the United States into Western North Carolina, actually into Boone, North Carolina. Help me say hello to Mike Parachuk. Mike, I know these last week or so has been traumatic, to say the least. Can you kind of let us know, number one, you're all right. No damage to your house from what I understand, but you did lose power, and talk about your neighborhood.
Well, John, thank you, first of all, for having me. We're very, very grateful on my side of town. We had a few trees come down, a few limbs we had to clean up. We lost power for a day or two or three, but we're kind of back to normal. But other parts of our county are ravaged. Anybody that had a stream and a road and a house along that stream was in danger of losing their home. And in many places, the roads are washed out. They need to be totally rebuilt or repaired. And we're actually recovering quite well. I think we're 9 days or 10 days since the disaster struck. And right now, I think we still have about 4,000 homes without electricity in our county.
Yeah.
But the transportation is rough. The schools are closed and people are stepping up, helping each other. And we're so grateful for all the aid, support, and help we've received from all over the country and all the well wishes as well.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that you are in a resort area, and there's lots of ski areas there. I'm sure there's lots of campgrounds. But unlike, many snowstorms that happened in the Northeast, 2-3 days later, the snow is pushed aside and it's melted and it's gone and whatever. This is going to be what appears to be several years to get things back together, if they ever get back together at all. Tell us about the feeling that you had when you had people knocking on your doors in orange T-shirts right after the activity took place, but you said you also got phone calls and texts from your college friends that you haven't seen in years. How has that been? And the government is also, you said, working quite well with this relief effort.
Yeah. Well, let me first, I'm very grateful, John. We had a relatively small class graduate from Assumption. I think we were maybe 130 that graduated in our class. I probably heard from 10 or 12 classmates, and we're 50 plus years since graduation. So that meant a lot.
Don't let anybody know that. I keep telling people I'm just 5 years out of college.
Yeah. Well, your hair looks pretty good, John. But seriously, also, I worked in the same school for 31 years, and many of my friends and colleagues that I worked with in New Jersey also reached out. I can't tell you how overwhelmed my wife Carolyn and I were with the responses we got from friends, relatives, acquaintances. Are you okay? And it was just tremendous. The community here is very resilient. It's a very faith-bound community. Many churches, and they have stepped up. They've got churches that are offering 3 meals a day to people that need food. The Hospitality House, which is our homeless shelter, has been a central place for feeding and taking care of people. And no one who can access what's available should go hungry or thirsty or be in need. The university here opened up the home center, which is basically a gymnasium that holds 9,000 spectators for a basketball game, as a shelter. So people that need a cot, a warm place to sleep, it's available. FEMA's been on the ground here before the storm hit. And my friend who lives about 15 miles from here said FEMA's out writing those $750 checks of immediate aid to people that need them. So, the effort has been tremendous. There's a small airport about 2 miles from where I live. There are huge Army, National Guard helicopters landing. Supplies are being brought in. Trucks are brought in. I saw a truck today from someplace in New York to Boone, North Carolina.
You could tell because it had all graffiti on the side, right?
That's right. Yeah. But the relief effort and the support we have received has been tremendous. We have a lot of work to do. One of our 8 elementary schools is going to be closed because of damage from the flooding. About probably 300 homes in the town of Boone are probably going to be condemned because of the water damage is just so terrible. Flooding was a huge problem in our town because Boone is a bowl about 3,300 feet above sea level, and it's surrounded by mountains. So the water came rushing down, and the water went up, and eventually it came down. But by the time it came down, it left a lot of ravage behind. A lot of people were left homeless. They had to just clean everything out. And whether or not they're going to be able to occupy their homes again is a big question. But like I said, we're getting a lot of support, a lot of help, and neighbors are helping neighbors. Samaritan's Purse, Franklin Graham's ministry, is headquartered here in Boone. 2 days after the storm, about 50 volunteers in orange shirts came up into my subdivision. A couple knocked on my door and said, "Can we help you? Is there anything we can do?" And we happened to have a tree still down blocking part of the access to our subdivision. And the neighbors and myself had cleared half of it, but it was a 1-lane kind of road. So I said, "If you don't mind, you got a couple chainsaws, could you maybe open up the road for 2-lane traffic?" And within 20 minutes, they accomplished the task. And they went door to door, helping people. A lot of people had down limbs, trees, basically cleaning it up. If you drove into my subdivision, you'd see piles of brush and wood. There's no shortage of firewood right now. But anyway, the state will eventually come and pick all that up from the side of the road. So again, we're extremely lucky in my neighborhood, but other parts of our county are suffering a great deal.
That was an amazing testament of humanity, I have to say. Obviously has some wonderful neighbors, and that is, we just hope that the whole country responds like that during times of crisis.
Zagami, what are you eating? What are you eating?
Nothing.
Some fruit slices.
Yeah.
You don't seem too stressed out over there.
No.
Yeah.
We're more stressed out than you are.
You are.
Yeah, well, based on this map here, it looks like you might get a little breeze or something.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's all going to come at night.
Right. It's
The
going
real
to
damage is going to be
swing around and
nobody
clog
knows.
you by the
I
backside.
was watching Walter's comments. That's just starting to hit landfall, which is about right. They said yesterday about 8 p.m. tonight till 8 p.m. tomorrow night. So we're going to wake up in the morning and everybody's going to start all over again to see just what has happened and what damage has been done. And hopefully it won't be too bad. But
Yeah, it looks like that Tampa area is getting inundated for sure.
that's going to be the big
Yeah.
question mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Bernie, do you have Walter's? Do you have the tape that Bob sent? Is that ready to go? Maybe Bob, if you want to.
Which one do you? We have Cornwall.
Bobby Conwell. I did talk to Bobby Conwell, who is the president and CEO of the Florida and Alabama RV Resort and Campground Association. Big mouthful, and we got, it was almost like instant replay. But yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Welcome back. Welcome back. We got Bobby Conwell making a second visit in about 2 weeks. And Bobby, we thought we were done with when Helene came through, and then all of a sudden we're dealing with Milton, who's going to come through tomorrow. I was wondering, is there anything that the parks can do short of evacuation?
There are approximately 1,200 that are licensed as RV parks in the state through the Florida Department of Health. But a good fraction of those are not your traditional RV park. Many of them are like mobile home parks with a few RV sites or whatever.
Yep.
We kind of narrowed down to about 800 legitimate RV parks, and we have about 420 that are members of the association. So
that's interesting. That's good. And I know during Ian, people got worried. They thought there was a lot of damage, but a few of the parks had some damage, but for the most part, you were ready to go and welcoming the snowbirds. And I think we're at the same point right now, aren't we?
Well, we are right now. I don't know how it's going to be in a couple of days from now. But fortunately with Helene, it skirted the Gulf Coast, and there were some parks that were flooded. But that's kind of the beauty of an RV park is once that water recedes, hopefully there's no structural damage to the office and sites can be up and running relatively quickly. So, we tried to do as much of a gathering of information that we could from our parks, at least those in the affected areas, and the majority of them, we're fine or we're going to be fine shortly. So, yeah, we got lucky there. Now, we kind of talked about this last time, but up in the Big Bend area, Cedar Key, Steinhatchee, that area up there was damaged badly. So there are parks there that will be out of commission for many months.
Yeah, and
just a few.
If the projections hold true, because we never know where hurricane is going to go once it hits landfall, but all the emphasis has really been on that kind of from Marco Island all the way up the coast to Cedar Key and there along the coast. So that may be where we see it. And I don't know, do you have any waterfront campgrounds along?
Well, waterfront, not directly on the water. We got a couple that are like across the street. So not good, but we have many. I'm guessing probably 20, 30 that are in that coastal area, especially around Bradenton, Sarasota, all the way down to Fort Myers that are, pretty much coastal properties where they're, within a few blocks or they're on waterways, canals, that whole area. You got canals, you got rivers, you got lakes, you got, the waterways that flow into the ocean. So when you have that storm surge, all that backs up, and you could still be 3 miles inland and receive damage from storm surge because the rivers were backing up. So we got quite a few I talked with yesterday. We tried to make calls yesterday, reached out to them as much as I could, the ones that I knew were going to be in harm's way, and they've done what they could. Everybody's evacuating, which they pretty much have to. All those counties in that area are mandatory evacuation orders. Specifically, obviously, for RV parks, mobile home parks. That's a no-brainer. So
damage during Ian, what was the red something campground that got totaled?
Red Coconut.
Yeah, red coconut, very popular. That one got damaged significantly.
That was one of the few that we lost, and
Yep.
yeah, they will not come back. They didn't come back.
No,
I think they ended up selling that land to a developer, and it's going to be a high-rise apartment complex or condo complex, and then that was turned down. So I think it's going to be vacant from here on out. But yeah,
interesting.
that's unfortunate. We hate to lose parks.
Yep, and Indian Creek across the bridge got hit. They were out for a couple of years, but now I know they're getting back into it, and people are being able to replace their homes or do the renovations.
Well, that's the problem too when these storms come through. Is a lot of times the local ordinances will change, the county will change. FEMA comes in, redraws the maps, and where there was an RV park at one time, now they're saying, okay, well, if you're going to continue to be an RV park, you got to raise them 12 feet, which that can't happen.
Yeah.
So under those circumstances, it's bad. Potential losing a lot of parks that way. Now we do have some Florida statutes that allow parks to rebuild after a storm, but that doesn't override any FEMA maps or any kind of regulations like that. So
Yeah, interesting. Well, let's end on a much happier note. I know we're all anticipating the storm. It is what it is. We'll deal with it. But this is also coming up on snowbird season. So what do you project for, let's assume there's minimum damage in the area and you look at all the parks in general. What's your forecast for the snowbirds and when might they start coming?
Right now, typically this is the month they would start trickling in. November 1 for sure. The month of November is probably the busiest month for them all to come in. So we're on the outskirts of that now, but at many parks, we're starting to have them come in already in October. So this will, may put a little damper on some of the parks on the West Coast. But yeah, we were excited. We still are. I think it's going to be a good year. For most reports I've heard, reservations are up, or at least steady where they were last year. So we're hoping for a good season, and hopefully this won't change. So,
all right, Bobby, thanks for taking the time, and we'll come back and do a snowbird show maybe in November. We'll check in with you.
Okay, I appreciate it, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Great interview.
Yeah.
Great interview.
Great guy. Yeah, I tried to get Dave Kelly, but he's the president of the Florida RV Trade Association, of course, puts on the Florida Super Show. So we're hoping that there's no damage to the Florida State Fairgrounds if that thing comes across, and
that's right.
Could impact that also.
That's right.
And ironically, tomorrow, I was supposed to be in Tampa with Dave. We've been trying to get together for a year, and we finally settled on the 10th. And I was going to go up. I was going to meet the staff, see the new headquarters, and Dave and I were going to talk about the Florida Super Show. And I didn't need a disinvite. We knew that meeting wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, our friend Rick Kessler just joined us, and I know that Rick has been keeping everybody up to date on what's going on with the RV aspect of this trip, this situation weather-wise. I'm sure that by tomorrow we'll know what the status is of those giant dealerships, Bob. What do we got? Lazy Days,
Camping World,
General
RV, and Blue Compass RV.
Yep.
Right down I-4.
All within 5 miles of each other.
Yeah, within 12. There's between Lazy Days and the 12. There's 17 miles between one and the other, and the others are squashed in there. But I tell you, I want to give a credit to Rick Kessler. We do cooperate with them and they with us in terms of our news items for the Camp Report Show. But he did an incredible article the other day on a follow-up to Helene and what it was. And today they issued the top. Well, they haven't announced the RV of the year yet, but the listing of the 10 finalists for the RV of the year, 10 debut products, 10 innovative products. And this guy is just knocking it out of the park. If you don't get the RV Business Newsletter, or if you're a campground and you don't get Woodall's Campground Magazine, you are missing out on some of the best writing in our industry today. And Rick, you're just doing an incredible job.
Yeah. So Bernie, you make
Yeah.
do we want to throw that one? Do we want to utilize that last video, or do we want to talk here and find out?
Oh, you want to do Emily?
Yeah, we got what? That's 7 minutes. That'll bring us right up to closing, and let you know, folks, that if some crazy stuff goes on, and Bob and I are planning on speaking tomorrow morning, and maybe taking some pictures outside of his place. But if we have to go live with some special reports, we will be there to do that. And this person I bumped into on Facebook. She is a full-time RVer. She's right up in Seacoast RV Park, not Seacoast in Maine,
Resort.
but yeah, Seacoast Resort in Northampton, New Hampshire, Bernie, right up by you.
Oh, yeah.
And is a storm chaser. And let's listen to what Miss Wolf has to say. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Storms are certainly the headlines in the news these past few weeks, and probably will continue to be the headlines in the next few weeks as people recover from storms. And with me to give us a very unique perspective is a professional storm chaser herself, Emily Wolf. And Emily is also a full-time RVer, so she has two perspectives. And Emily, I'm sure you'd agree that you don't want to be caught in a storm with high winds when you're in an RV, right?
Yeah, you really don't. I know a lot of people say, well, my RV can handle, it's 20,000 pounds and it can handle strong winds. But the winds aren't the only factor here. You got a lot of flooding, and you do not want to be stuck in the flooding and the storm surge that happens with these storms as well.
Talk about that term storm surge, Emily, because, well, before I do that, tell us about yourself, who you travel with, family, dogs, pets, travel trailer, motorhome, where you are now, and where you've been recently.
Yeah, so I'm Emily. I've been a full-time RVer for 1.5 years. It's me, my husband. We have a 13-year-old daughter, a Kirby the Basset Hound, 2 cats, and a hedgehog.
Basset Hound.
Yes.
Wow. A real dog.
A real dog. You can find his Facebook page at The Adventures of Kirby the Spotted Ear Basset Hound.
Adventures of Kirby. Okay. Okay. And how did you happen to go full time?
We started traveling back in 2017 part time. I had severe
pre-COVID.
And we were just tent camping, and I almost lost my leg back in 2016 due to severe nerve damage. And traveling was what helped me get healthy. So we started going to one national park unit a month, and then 2020 hit, and I refused to be one of those parents who kept her kid inside all the time. So we were camping every single weekend from about June to October.
Whereabouts was this, Emily?
Minnesota.
Minnesota, okay.
Yep. And then 2021 hit, and we lost my mother-in-law to COVID. It was 3 months after she retired, so she didn't get to do much with traveling or anything. 2022, we went to Alaska for 10 days and to Vermont. And when we got back, my husband was finally on board and said, let's do it. Let's go full time.
Alaska and Vermont, that is quite a geographic variety.
It is. But we learned how to do a Alaska trip on a budget when we flew. And we go to Vermont every year. We got a family camp about 10 miles away from the Canadian border.
Oh, way up north of Burlington or
yes.
River Junction or wherever up there.
Yes.
So then the storm thing. So how do segue into the storm chasing?
Yeah. So I started learning about storms when I was 10, and I'm 38 now. So it was always this big interest. And my husband also had this big interest. And so we decided in 2020 that we were going to become trained weather spotters, which is such an important thing out there. And then we started chasing. And it became one of our favorite quote unquote date nights. Let's put it that way.
Let's go chase.
And we've and I'm a photographer as well. So weather photography is one of my passions. So I chase the northern lights, and we chase lightning, and we chase tornadoes, and yeah, it's been a crazy ride so far, and we've absolutely loved it.
Okay. So what should RVers know about RVing and storms? I know everybody that you talk to says stay out of it. Don't worry about adding extra water because it's only 200 pounds of water. You're going to go flying through the air. Give us some safety tips for RVers with storms.
I think the most important thing that RVers can do is become trained weather spotters for their National Weather Service in their area. And I say this because not enough people know about storms, not enough people know what to do. And when you take one of these classes and you become a trained weather spotter, you're learning about tornadoes, you're learning about what to watch for, you're learning more so how to evacuate if you need it. You're learning how to watch radar. And those are such important tools to have, believe it or not, especially when you're an RVer, because you don't know, okay, you can see a storm coming on radar, but okay, is it going to be severe? Is it just going to be rain? What to look for? You know what I mean?
Well, she's very passionate about what she does, and it's extraordinary the skill set that goes along with that, for sure.
Yep.
I'm sure it's very valuable. I think her recommendation to be, take a couple of classes and stuff, that sounds like something everybody should do.
Well, everybody's been an amateur weather spotter in the last day. Our friend Chuck Jacobs from the Kenny Rogers Band is giving hourly, and he's in Clearwater, Bob.
Right. Well, that's on the east side, the west side of Tampa Bay. Yeah, I sent a note over today. Yeah, we're worried about and praying for Chuck and that whole Clearwater Beach thing, and St. Petersburg. Yeah, I kind of watch what he's been posting most of the day.
Crazy times. We want to give a special thank you to Bernie for being able to be with us, and as well as Bill. Bill, you can come back out now out of the
back out of the time out. Yeah.
One of the things about RVers is they're always willing to help out other people, and whenever we run into situations that one of us can't cover, there's these other two guys there that are absolutely unbelievable in doing what they're doing. They never say no. They just say, hey, how can I help? And we're going to see more and more of that in these next couple of days with RVers helping RVers. Like Ben said, the pilots have a special group of people that whenever there's something going on that's traumatic and disastrous, they all chip in to help. And I think we're going to see some some activity and fellowship from RVers in the next few days that is going to make a lot of people say, well, they're really a great bunch of people. And Zagami, we're going to try to talk to you in the morning.
Yes, we will. And we'll wake up and see what damage there is and what has to be done down here on this end, and see what hopefully the damage is diminished in the Tampa Bay area. Absolutely.
So, Bob, I wish you and May the very best, and all your friends and neighbors. Of course, all the people that we know and love in that area. My brother has a house in Sarasota. I don't think he's down there right now, but I'm sure a lot of his neighbors.
Yeah, that's going to be hit pretty hard also.
Yeah, they're right on an intercoastal, and they're getting a lot of surge for sure.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of New England people down here, that's for sure.
Tons of, that should be down, that will be down there in January, February. But you know what? Those plans might change this year.
Yeah, we don't know.
One of my high school buddies live down there now.
So Hawes, I might be in Texas this January or February. So have a place for us.
Your buddy Ed LaTurco has 4 relative families in Tampa.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
okay, Ed,
everybody stay safe, and
guys.
We'll see you next week.
All
and
right.
Bernie, you want
Thanks
to
for having me.
One button?
I got it. Yep.
We're ready to go. Okay, guys.
Folks, we've got a big problem. There's absolutely no way we can match the savings of Seacoast RV during their blowout bonanza. I mean, look at these prices. They're crazy!
Don't miss out on Seacoast RV's blowout bonanza and your chance to get your family into the RV or towable of your dreams.
Wait a minute. Seacoast RV is taking your trade-ins and giving you top dollar?
And Seacoast RV wants your trade-in during their 2023 blowout bonanza. Trade in your RV towards a leftover 2023 model and receive up to an additional $5,000 on your trade value. That's right, up to $5,000 on your trade.
I mean, just look at these prices. How the heck am I supposed to match Seacoast RV's blowout bonanza? We can't do it!
Don't miss Seacoast RV's 2023 blowout bonanza. And don't forget to check the website for the RV of the week. Seacoast RV, creating family fun on Route 1 in Saco.
Seacoast RV's blowout bonanza savings are so crazy, it makes my head want to explode.
Seacoast RV. This edition of RVing in New England was a presentation of the New England RV Dealers Association. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.